2 on 48th. Which have not worked in a long time. Oh look, my card is still there from the last time I was here. That's been over a week. Can tell how much activity this phone's been getting. I guess somebody might have tried to use this one because my card is gone. I don't see it anywhere. I can't really do anything with this one. Or can I? Nah. I don't like to leave cards flying all over the place, but that should hold it. This is 48th Street. There's a nice little snowman for you. It's on 46th Street. And these will be familiar to anybody that follows this YouTube channel too closely. I'm not doing these because I'm in love with these phones, just because somebody needs to call out CityBridge for failing yet again. This is hardly its first failure since being given what could only be described as a sweetheart deal. A seemingly endless franchise agreement that has them keyed up to have a monopoly on public communication structures for the coming decades. PCS, public communication structures, is the new term for payphones, basically, public telephones. That's what they refer to the link machines as, PCS. And by the way, I'm going to demonstrate something else from the link machines if I can find one. The other news here is that today is the day that I finally was able to port the original Apology telephone number over to a more flexible telephony provider. This is a company that will allow me to connect the number straight to my PBX and probably save me $20-25 a month. We'll see about that, but 255-2748 was, for most of its 15-year run, that was the primary and only phone number for the old Apology line. And I picked it up, I guess, a few years ago now. In a bit of a coup, if I say so myself. But today, the number has been ported to my PBX. But for some reason, a ton of calls is coming in all of a sudden. I suspect that it's just the phone company that I ported things to testing to make sure it's reachable from different parts of the country or from different parts of the network. Because normally that call doesn't get more than a few calls a day. I never intended it to be a primary means of tuning in. The overwhelming majority of listeners come from the website or Shoutcast or Roku or any of a number of other sources. I plugged it into the phone number, not exactly as an afterthought, but just because I wanted to do something with that number that connected it to a phone art project, but that did not include the responsibility of fielding apology calls. So I don't need that. Look at the magic of the snowfall. They said we got about 5 or 6 inches in some areas. Didn't look like much accumulation anywhere I've been, but I guess the snow plows are a pretty well-oiled machine. Yeah, here's a link machine. Let's see what happens when I call my number now. Or maybe I'll wait until that person is not standing right next to it. I hate when that happens. Or I could just find another one. I'm just gonna find another one. That dude's not going anywhere. I mean, I got nothing to hide, but it just seems a little awkward. Leaves us with these two beauties. Oh, look at that, the handset's been smashed. Somebody left their banana. These are just big piles of garbage. They stink. They probably present health hazards, health risks. And here's who you can blame for it. That's actually their old address, 100 Park Avenue. They moved to the much-loved Sunnyside Yards. Hudson Yards. Actually, I would have loved that if they moved to Sunnyside Yards. But no, they moved to the much-hated Hudson Yards. And it really smells like piss now that I'm leaning down like this. I think somebody just took a picture of me doing this. Watch me go viral, sniffing piss out of a phone booth. And I'm going to go find a link machine to see if I can tell if the old apology number is working yet. By the way, that's the flip side of that booth I was just looking at. Beautiful, huh? Okay, so here's a link machine with a barely readable subway arrival time and a equally barely readable weather snapshot. I don't care about that. Let's see if my porting has gone all the way through. Because what's happening now is I think what's happening is they're sending in automated test calls from all over the country. And the line is only equipped to handle 2 calls at a time. But you are supposed to hear something when you connect. You're supposed to be hearing either my sexy voice or something telling you that the conference is full. That's the way this line is set up, is you call in and you're automatically connected to a conference, and that conference pipes in what's called music on hold, and that music on hold is not music, it's my payphone radio. And it's maybe not the most elegant or clever setup, but it works. Okay, so there's 0 for 1. But I don't know if that means that the call connected and got through to the radio, or if it connected to the thing telling you that the conference was full. Because as happens half the time with Link NYC, the call simply does not go through. I'm going to say this was deliberate, but it's like they put a little barricade. That's okay. Okay, there again, you're supposed to be hearing something. Either... I thought that was a fax signal. It was somebody's bike chain. You're supposed to be hearing something, but I'll actually go and see if this is working via the internet, even though everything was working fine like an hour ago. We're supposed to be hearing something here.
That conference is full. Goodbye.
That's what you're supposed to be hearing now, as the port takes place, as the port progresses. As is so typical of Link NYC, you don't hear shit. Said it before, I'll say it again. Calls on those things do not even work half the time. And that's the payphone of the future for you. And I can further vouch that this works over the internet. You can barely hear that out here, but it's working. So it's not the Shoutcast stream. It's not exactly my PBX. It's those Link NYC things that cannot complete the phone call. You're supposed to be hearing something through this. That's bullshit. It's never been lost on me that stuffing these cards into these machines is kind of a joke, since you can't actually make phone calls from these machines. The call goes through, but you just can't hear anything. But that's not why they're out here. They're out here to make money from ads and apparently from 5G antenna leasing. And then you're often faced with this, where sometimes the phone actually works when the screen is dead, but this isn't going to be one of them. Because when you press the volume up like that, you might hear the volume indicator. So anyway, no phone calls from this one either. I think we're 0 for 4 now, right? Welcome to the smart city. And I might as well see how the Penn Station phones are doing. Word came months and months ago that the population of payphones here was supposed to be decreased, but that has not happened. One went missing, but that was to make way for some scaffolding. The others are still here. A couple of them don't work, but there hasn't been an all-out removal. But things like that can change with the first of the year, and it's after the first of the year. First of the year is when a lot of long-term contracts finally run out, or that kind of thing. But I think I see the phones that were here before, so it's all good.
Please watch your step and face forward at all times. Please hold on to the handrail while riding the escalator.
Last call, the train is now boarding track 19. Last call, 236 train to Babylon, track 21. Woodside, Jamaica, Lindbergh, Rockville, Center, Baldwin, Freeport, Merrick, Belmore, Wantagh, Seaford, Massapequa, Park, Amityville, Copenhagen, Linden Terrace, Babylon. Change at Jamaica for the train to Far Rockaway, Locust Manor, Laurelton, Rosedale, Valley Stream, Gibson, Euland, Whitmere, Sierra, Farmington with Far Rockaway. Change at Jamaica for the train to Oyster Bay, Mineola, East Williston, Albertson, Rockland, Greenvale, St. Glen Street, Glencoe, Logan Valley, Oyster Bay. Change at Jamaica for the train to Patrick, stopping at Mineola, Babylon, Bayshore, Brick River, Hopedale, Zippel, Patrick. Change at Jamaica for the air train to JFK, track 21.
This is not a promising signal. Both of these had dial tone last time I was here. That last one did not, but that one's been dead for a long time. I think this one on the left did not work. The other one did. Uh-oh. That might be the end of an era. The central corridor phone is still here. And that has dial tone. So all is not lost for Penn Station, at least not yet. And if we saw anything from the Staten Island Ferry Terminal miracle where like all eight of the 9 phones suddenly came back to life, maybe that'll happen here. Yeah, the Daily Prayer is going to Muzak when it's supposed to be going to a recorded sermon. So maybe they're porting their number 2 and they're having the same kind of problems I am. It's all good. Even though it's 50 cents, I'm going to see what calling my number does. I mean, this is going to be 50 cents for what is probably a 5-second call. But it should at least do something that Link NYC cannot do, and that's make a freaking phone call.
What's up, boss?
I'm sorry. That conference is full. Goodbye.
I'm going home. I quit. You ready for me?
That was a lot of
I quit. You ready for me?
a lot of activity from the camera point of view. Sorry about that, but I can confirm that the message I heard was, sorry, that conference is full. And that's what you're supposed to hear from those Link machines, but their ability to make a phone call is sketchy at best. Bottom line, we're down to 2 dial tones at Penn Station. It's better than nothing. So back in Astoria, Long Island City, whatever you want to call this. Let's see if you can make a call from these. I think the answer is no. Okay, so I'm back in Queens and the port is finally, or I don't know if this means the port is done or if it just means that I can finally make a call from one of these links, but all of those previous calls you should have heard something. And I'm sure everything was working as well as it could, considering the port was in progress.
Capital back time. The shadow of the capital back time grab the white sound.
I have a nice voice, don't I?
And it's in reverse. So it's like a mirror image of the capital back sign in shadow form.
I do have to get a bit of a laugh out of seeing my cards kind of scatter all across the horizon, all across the landscape. This one is actually pretty close to where I would have stuck it, but I've seen others like blocks and blocks away. And I am going to pick that up because I don't want to be a litter bug. You know, I don't know why, but the number that's printed on this card is suddenly getting like 150 calls a day. It used to be like I get 2 or 3. if any. I've never expected the number to get a lot of calls. It's never been intended to be the primary access point for hearing this stuff, hearing that radio, but I just don't know where it's coming from. I don't understand why it's suddenly getting so many calls. I looked around a little bit, but it's got to be some private forum somewhere, or maybe a private Facebook group or something like that, because I couldn't find any trace of reference to that number on the public internet. So that this sticker was not there yesterday, but one of my cards was, and I just put another one in, but the sticker was not there yesterday. One of my cards was, and the card was gone when I got here, which suggests, but does not definitively determine, that one of the maintenance dudes that comes out and takes care of these things found my sticker and plucked it and threw it away. Those bastards. You know what these things cost? Actually, these cards are not cheap, but that doesn't really matter. It reminded me of a couple of things, though. I had it on... Oh, wow, that's really annoying, that sound. I had it on very good authority. Uncontestable, actually. It made me think that if this is reminding these people of my existence, they must be pretty impressed by now by my persistence, or whatever you want to call it. But I had it on very good authority, uncontestable authority, that within the company they talked about me like I was a folk hero. And they never said anything to that effect in public, of course. They never really said much of anything. But their silence spoke volumes. But the folk hero thing wasn't strictly on account of the Mr. Softy nonsense or other things like that. It was a lot of that, but it was also my relentless screeds posted to my website about what a failure this product is, and all the things it fails to do and does not deliver on, and on and on. And I would write 2,000 word manifestos, if you will, about what a letdown these things have been in terms of replacing the old payphones. And you know what? The only people reading that stuff was the company that puts these things out here. And it's like they would be on edge waiting for me to post my next thing. And all the traffic, all the hits to those stories came from intersection.com or CityBridge or whatever, one of the affiliate companies. Those were the only people reading that stuff. A number of times they actually took action on some of the stuff that I pointed out, but they would never address me directly because, I don't know, they seem to treat me like a child. But on the other hand, it didn't surprise me that the truth of the matter was that they talked about me with some level of respect, because these are normal people who cannot have failed to recognize by now that this product has not lived up to its very lofty ambitions. It hasn't even come close, and it never will. It reminded me in turn of another thing that happened. I only did this one time for one day, and I felt really stupid about it. That's why I stopped doing it, because it went against my philosophy of being disruptive without being destructive. That's kind of the aesthetic that informed the softy thing. To this day, people seem to think I hacked the network or breached the network or did something evil. Anything but I don't care. It doesn't matter anymore. But another little thing I got fixated on was, for a while they had this one-touch access to their tech support line, where you might call to say you were having trouble connecting to the Wi-Fi or to report a problem with the machine. And they just had this one-touch access to that. And so I was just, anytime I came to one of these machines, I would hit that button, ring their phone, and just be a real pest, because they had to answer every single call. And yeah, I know, it's childish, that's why I quit doing it, but as some people have asked me time and again, how old are you anyway? Seriously. But one time, the last time I called, because it was, I guess this was the reaction I was looking for, was the instant I hit that button, it connected, and I heard somebody say, "Payphone guy, is that you?" And I just laughed, and I thought, well, I wonder if they activated the cameras on this thing to spy on me or to catch me in this act of touching one of their buttons on one of their screens. But like I said, maybe that's why I quit doing it, or maybe I just recognized how stupid this was, because I was just being a pest and wasting their time, and I didn't want to. Well, yeah, I just quit doing it because it got old real quick. But yeah, payphone guy, is that you? I gave myself a high five for that one. I don't think this sticker was here yesterday either. But when I say it suggests but does not conclusively determine that somebody from the company found the card and plucked it and threw it away. And this creates the possibility that the company is still thinking about me. I mean, obviously other scenarios are possible. Somebody else could have found the card and taken it. Or even if they did take the card and throw it out, the content of it might not have registered with them, because the maintenance guys are not really in the same space as the corporate guys who use the folk hero terminology. But every single card that I put out yesterday was gone today. And without fail, there'll be at least a few left from the day before. So that pretty strongly suggests they did their sweep, which they do, I think, every 2 weeks of all the machines in this area. And I don't know how they schedule it, but I don't know if this means they're on to me, though, or if they care, if they just see the card and think, oh, who cares? But had yet another contact, an ephemeral contact with the company. And maybe they're asking themselves, is this guy ever going to go away?